So as I said, the manager kind of works in tabs. So it'll open up new tabs when it does some activities. So it does that all automatically, but you may need to stop it from being blocked by itself. So for instance, if I try and do a one-click login now, so I just select one site and do a one-click login. And you'll see that it comes up and says this is in progress, one-click login and testing. In fact, it says everything's okay, but if you look up here, we've got no tab opening. It hasn't opened it. It should have gone in there and actually gone into the blog. And the reason it hasn't done that, if we look at the top here, this is in Firefox, you can see we've got a yellow bar, and it says Firefox prevented the site from opening a pop-up window. So we need to go to Options, and we need to say allow pop-ups from, in this case, lifelonghosting.net. It'll be pop-ups from your own hosting, from your own domain, so there's no issue about it. It's not a problem with allowing these pop-ups, but if you just allow that one, then it'll still block everything else. If you don't get that yellow bar come up and it's still not working, you can go to Options, and in there you can go to Content, and you'll see where it says the block-ups are popped. You could turn it off, but I don't recommend that at all, because obviously you're going to be browsing the web with that possibly, so you want to block these nasty ads and things from other people. But you can add an exception. Put in your address, just simply copy it from the toolbar there. As I say, add the exception. In fact, it looks like I've added it in there already. And I can click allow, and it would add that in. Also, if you get any problems where you've already got it in there and it's still not popping these tabs up, then try removing it. You can just remove that site, add it back in again, and close that off and OK it. And now, when you click the one-click login, the tab opens up and opens up the dashboard for the site you want. So now the tabs are all working. Hi, welcome to this video, and we're going to have a little look at some of the primary functions of the WordPress manager. And most of those we do from the main control page. So I'm going to go and select the main control page, and let's just pop over there and have a little look at that a moment. And as you see, it's brought the blogs over with us. Now, the first thing you notice is that we've got a traffic lights here. They're all red. We've got a warning triangle there. So clearly there's something wrong with those blogs, or at least the system hasn't seen those blogs yet. And the reason is initially when it starts up, we need to run through so it can actually scan all the blogs and check them and find out what plugins it's got, what themes it's got, whether they're active or not active, whether they need updating, etc. And in fact, whether it can even contact the blog, whether it's got any problems or the blog's got any issues. And it will do all that. And I'll say we can run through the whole system of our blogs and do that initially. Once we've done that, it kind of keeps yourself up to date relatively well as you do any updates, because it will then always check afterwards to make sure everything's up to date and see if there's anything more to be done. But initially, we need to kind of get it up to date. So before we go off and install our slave plugins, etc., we'll just do this. And what I can do, I've got the option to select all, and it will select everything, or I can deselect all, or I can, just select any that I want. But wherever I am, I can always select all, deselect all. So I'm going to select all of these, and we're going to go and just do an initial run to get all the data up to date and make sure we'll find out what the state of all those blogs are. And we can do that with this refresh updates information. You can do this anytime you like. So refresh updates information, it will only select the blogs that are chosen. In fact, if I just deselect them a moment, and let me just do one. So let's do the refresh updates information. I'll just do it on one, and you can kind of see quickly how that does that. And it will go off and it will find that blog. And it will do some checks against it, make sure it's actually online. And the site is online, and it's found everything okay. Just flashed quickly there, but it said the database was updated. So it now keeps a track. So it knows, in this case, when we look at these traffic lights, as long as we've got the little WordPress sign there, not the triangle, we know that everything should be okay. And in this case, we've got the WordPress core. So that's the actual WordPress application itself. So your WordPress version, in this case, it's 3.9.1, but your version will, maybe completely different, obviously, by the time it gets to see this. So this tells us that that is up to date. If it's green, it's up to date. If it's red, there's a problem. And P is for plugins. So the plugins on this site are orange or yellow, and that means that the plugins are not up to date. So the plugins are okay, but some of them, or one of them at least, is out of date. And again, we have T for themes. In this case, it's green, so it says that the themes are all okay. So we'll go and look how we can update those later, but this is just getting the information up front, as I said. So I can select all. I'll take that one off, as I've already done it, and select refresh updates information, and I'll run that. It'll take a few minutes to run. So I'll probably pause the video while this is running so that you don't have to sit and watch the screen for a few minutes. But if there's any issues here coming up, this is the kind of thing that we'll see here. So in this particular site, it said it's got a connection error 502, and this one's got a connection error 500. Now, I know this is because these sites are either broken or they don't exist. So, but when you do it, you obviously need to see what these errors are, and this will help. If there's any problems with your site, it will kind of bring these problems up at this point in time. So then we can start looking at what the problem is. However, all being okay, it will come through and it will literally just say, it will check to make sure they can see it and it's online, and then it will gather all the information from it. For instance, say all the plugins, what it's got, whether they're up to date, etc. And then it will update the master database within the master control program here, and then we can keep track of exactly what's happening with your WordPress sites. And we can decide whether we need to update them or not. So now that pass has finished and the manager has gone to every one of these blogs and checked it out, see whether it's working and to see what the state of play is and what plugins it's got installed, etc. And we get a kind of result or a general traffic light result from that. So as I said before, we can see that this particular blog, the plugins need updating. These two blogs appear to be fully up to date. We have two blogs here that have some problems. They got red lights and the warning triangle. These two are fully up to date. And these with all yellows would appear to need both the WordPress core, the plugins, and the themes updating. So let's just have a look at these red ones. Now we know we've got a problem with those, and we can go and check those just by clicking the link on the right hand side here. So I just click the link and go and try and open up the home page. And you can see this one says the account has been suspended, so obviously there's an issue with that site. And if we look at the next one, it will open up in the same tab. And that one again, that's got a problem. It's just a blank screen there. So obviously those two sites have got problems. So these need to be looked at manually. So as you can see in the real life situation, if these were making money for you, this is something you want to know if they were going to be down and broken. Okay, one other function that we can do. Remember that we do not have the child plugin installed in the remote site yet, so it's a limited function, but we can look at the home page, and we can also use this what we call the one-click login. The manager kind of works in tabs, so it'll open up new tabs when it does some activities. So it does that all automatically, but you may need to stop it from being blocked by itself. So for instance, if I try and do a one-click login now, so let's just select one site and do a one-click login. And you'll see that it comes up and says this is in progress, one-click login and testing. In fact, it says everything's okay, but if you look up here, we've got no tab opening. It hasn't opened it. It should have gone in there and actually gone into the blog. And the reason it hasn't done that, if we look at the top here, this is in Firefox, you can see we've got a yellow bar, and it says Firefox prevented the site from opening a pop-up window. So we need to go to Options, and we need to say allow pop-ups from, in this case, lifelonghosting.net. It'll be pop-ups from your own hosting, from your own domain, so there's no issue about it. It's not a problem with allowing these pop-ups, but if you just allow that one, then it'll still block everything else. If you don't get that yellow bar come up, and it's still not working, you can go to Options, and in there you can go to Content, and you'll see where it says the block-ups are popped. You could turn it off, but I don't recommend that at all, because obviously you're going to be browsing the web with that possibly, so you want to block these nasty ads and things from other people. But you can add an exception. Put in your address, just simply copy it from the toolbar there. As I say, add the exception. In fact, it looks like I've added it in there already. And I can click allow, and it would add that in. Also, if you get any problems where you've already got it in there and it's still not popping these tabs up, then try removing it. You can just remove that site, add it back in again, and close that off and OK it. And now, when you click the one-click login, the tab opens up and opens up the dashboard for the site you want. So now the tabs are all working. So I can take any of these. Let's take this Marriott's Ramblings. Let's just have a look at that one. And as I said, that's the site there. But what I can do the one-click login and access it completely. So I just need to check that box and one-click login, and it will automatically open that blog up for me without me having to log in or do anything, all done automatically, and it will take me into the dashboard. So we're okay, we logged into there fine. And you notice down here it's got a little code, it says code 200. That means it's actually, while you do a one-click login, it actually checks the website as well. And if there's anything wrong with this WW or not WW, you'll get a red message up here telling you that it perhaps needs changing. So if you do get any problems that you can't connect to, do a one-click login and have a look in this column first. Now the one-click login opens multiple tabs. So if we just select 3 of there, for instance, and then just do it, and you'll see that it opens up 1, 2, 3 tabs, and it will open up each of these into the dashboard so we can see what's going on. So this multiple tab open is quite useful. If you want to tidy up, by the way, you can just take the first tab, right click on there, and click close other tabs, OK that, and we bring it back to square and neat. But the reason this works well is because now we need to add the child plugin to all the other blogs. Now, if you've got a lot of blogs, that can be a little bit of work if you're going to put a plugin to each one and manually. But we've got an option here, so let me just show you how we can do that. And I'm going to just select 5 of these first, but of course you can select as many as you like. And we've got an option here called Open Tabs for Remote Plugin. So if I click that, click Just Do It, it will do exactly that. It will open up 5 tabs for me. Here we go, bang, bang, bang. And each of those will conveniently open up at the place where we can install the plugin. And they'll be the same in all the tabs they've opened up, as they at the convenient place for you to browse and install the plugin. So the plugin's easy to install. It's exactly the same as you did the master plugin, but now we need to do this for each of the sites. You simply browse for the plugin that we've downloaded. I've got it in my downloads, it's there, it's the child site, so the name may be slightly different, the version number may be slightly different in your particular one, but it'll be clear for the download page what you've got. Once we're there, we just install that. And of course, while you're waiting, you could go to the rest and browse, go to your downloads and install on all of them exactly the same way. But this one's now installed. Just need to activate the plugin. And it should come up and say plugin activated. And if we scroll down and look at the WP Manager Slave plugin here, we can see that it's all active and everything's okay. Now, if you get any problems, installing these, if you get any errors at all, check the FAQ. You may have a plugin which has been encrypted by the vendor as part of their protection. So you may need something like IonCube or ZenGuard installed or activated. Most web hosts already have that done, but you may have to go through a process to get that done. But as I say, if you've got any errors or any problems with it, check the error message, check what's actually wrong, and check the FAQ. And there should be a resolution in there for you. If not, contact the support at the top of your main page. Okay, with all your plugins installed, you're kind of ready to go and play with the nitty-gritty stuff that this can do for you. And we'll look at some of that in the next video.